Hello and welcome back to New Hampshire's #1 sports podcast, where one of the hosts for the 47th straight party made way too much food. It is the Never Words podcast. I'm your host, Tom Brown, joined as always by my brother, Chef Tim. Now, Tim, let's break it down.
Mm-hmm.
I was there with my wife and daughter. You were there with your wife and 2 children. Aunt Judy came with her 2 grandchildren. That was the party. Ant showed up. He got out of work, showed up a little later. So you made 2 calzones that were the size of Lennon, a stromboli, which you didn't advertise, and you just put on the Traeger and then took it off just like when it was time for you to eat. So that was a personal stromboli, again, the size of Lennon. And not to mention, you had, people brought stuff, a spinach and artichoke dip. Aunt Judy brought some, kielbasa on a stick. Can't go wrong there with barbecue sauce.
You cannot. It's just so good.
And then you had, that was it. That was what it essentially boiled down to about 4 people.
Well,
and your
yeah,
2 calzones were sausage, peppers, and onion, and buffalo chicken.
Yeah. The issue we ran into was stomach bug ran through the Boylston crowd. Otherwise, if they were there, I don't think there would have been enough food.
Well, I don't know. Jack was going to bring chicken wings.
Then Mom was going to bring pigs in a blanket.
Pigs. That's what that party was missing. That was the one thing.
The amount of kielbasa I ate last night is like alarming.
Yeah, Tim, I was thinking about it because I left after the game. Did you have more stromboli?
No, I did not eat anything else after everybody left.
Okay.
Did I? I might have had a sliver.
Okay, so here's what I'm getting at. The amount of sodium coursing through you right now.
I'm looking at myself. I look like the state marshmallow fella.
Yeah, Stay Puff marshmallow.
Yeah, I am swollen.
Or maybe the Michelin Man.
Yeah, I need water. Need a couple waters.
You need a water and maybe just like a day of something light.
Yeah.
White meat chicken. White meat chicken breast. Boneless.
So I shouldn't have eaten the rest of the stromboli for lunch today.
You know what, Tim? Diet starts at dinner. Nice light dinner.
Diet starts on Wednesday.
I respect that you're not just going to wait till next Monday. Well, this week's shot.
I mean, this week is pretty shot.
All right, you old salt. So we are going to talk about the big game from yesterday. The Celtics pulled out a win over the Grizzlies. Good win. Game. Still down Smart and Jaylen Brown. Grizzlies we're number 2 in the West, and the Celtics just keep pulling it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. You didn't send a rundown. I didn't know we were talking about the Celtics.
No, that was a joke.
I thought we were talking about the other game.
That was a joke because you were so incredibly wrong about the Super Bowl, every aspect of it. Could you tell the listeners what team you picked?
The Eagles.
And who'd you pick for Super Bowl MVP? The first time on the podcast?
A.J. Brown, who had won?
He had a good game.
If he had scored another touchdown and that won them the game, he might have. No, he wouldn't. Hurts had a fucking awesome game.
Hurts had 3 touchdowns. And then
he had 300 yards.
Please enlighten our listeners and viewers. When you decided to throw some money down on Super Bowl MVP, who'd you pick? Mm-hmm. Sorry if I messed up some words. I got a filling this morning. I woke up from Super Bowl Sunday and went to the dentist and got a filling. So I'm still dealing with this little numbness.
That's worse than working.
My face. All right, so who'd you pick, Tim?
Well, I put a little money on a few guys. Hassan Reddick. I don't even think he got a tackle.
He definitely didn't get a sack. We'll get to that.
But a majority of my money went to Boston Scott.
Yep. Do you want me to read his stats?
I would just like listeners to know it was a glitch on my phone, and I put the bet in multiple times.
Yes, and he went for 3 carries and 8 yards.
But Had he scored on that first drive, he might have had 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, you never know, Tim.
Real Jonas Gray feeling at the beginning of the game for him.
But let's start where we should start, and that is Pat Mahomes is a magician. He didn't have crazy numbers, but he was super efficient, and the Chiefs were unstoppable in the second half.
I don't understand. I mean, he didn't 21 for 27, 182 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a great game.
Mhm.
But people comparing him to Brady is crazy. He has two Super Bowls.
Yeah, Tim, people
I
just
just that's
everyone
all it was on the
Tim,
after, did you watch the show? No, because you were
Tim,
driving.
I'm driving home. You live too far away.
Um, no, the Chiefs offense was awesome. I don't understand what happened to this great Philly defense, but I think it's what we talked about all last podcast. The Eagles didn't play any good quarterbacks, and anytime they played a good quarterback,
I mean, if you think of just Rodgers and Dak, they gave up 33 and 40 points. And then Patrick Mahomes, it was 38. So there you go. That kind of explains everything.
so that's 100 points they gave up against good quarterbacks, and they only played 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
The Eagles didn't have a sack. The 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 offensive line, as you stated a million times last night, was dominant for the Eagles.
yeah,
The line, just that rugby play, that first or fourth and one for a first down, it's going to work every time until they ban it. Which, who knows? It is starting to. I mean, stop the guy, but if you if you
I
can
don't think
have
you can
two guys,
stop that play.
no, you can't. You can't. JJ Watt came out after some stupid fourth and short decision some coach made, and on Twitter he said there's nothing we can do on a sneak up the middle with running backs pushing. He said that's the hardest thing for a defense to defend.
But the Eagles do it so well because they put what was it? They put AJ Brown in motion, so he pushes the running back, pushing the quarterback, and I mean, there's no better center in the game
Yeah.
than Kelsey. I don't even think I like him,
Oh, I thought
but
you said you did like him yesterday. You
I
know what it
like
is?
him
It's
as a center.
fatigue. It's fatigue. Too much of them the last 2 weeks
But
because he played his brother.
what?
Yeah. His brother, not a big guy on the other team, but he was on the
I
Chiefs.
did think it was funny that did you see what he said to or yeah, what Jason Kelsey said to Travis Kelsey after the game.
No, I saw them laughing. That was like the last
Yeah.
thing I saw.
Yeah. It came out today and he said, "Fuck you, congratulations."
That's we were laughing like what we would say to each other, and it'd probably be something like that.
Yeah. Um he is just awesome on those plays.
Yeah,
He
he
gets so
just.
low and he just bear crawls.
But
It does it.
he's the first guy that can move because he knows he's the one that initiates it. So you
Yeah.
can't stop that.
Oh, that's why he's the second best player on the field and
So
second most important.
so Mahomes, like you said, 6 incompletions, 3 touchdowns. Is that how it ended up?
Yes.
That's they keep in mind they traded Tyreek Hill because they said Pat Mahomes can do a slice and dice offense just as well as he can do a throw deep to Tyreek Hill. Their second half possessions, touchdown, 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 field goal.
Should have been a touchdown. I don't know if you want to talk about that later. I
No, it's
still don't think I'm wrong.
okay. Oh,
So as we were discussing last night,
well, hold on. There was a big play involved. So a 3rd and 8 in the game-winning field goal drive, they called holding, which it's interesting because it was holding. Even
that
even
is interesting.
well, no, I know, but we were watching it, and Greg Olson was like, I don't know, it's close, and it was, but the cornerback comes out and says, no, I held him. I was hoping they weren't going to call it. James Bradbury. And
What do
then
you think that angle was about? Him saying that? Like, was he? Do you think he was? like on. No, I was holding them. Like I definitely was
Yeah,
holding them. But then he says, I didn't think they would. I was hoping they wouldn't call it.
I think
Do you
he was
think?
like, I think you're probably saying like straight up, my idea was I'm gonna try and get away with this because it's 3rd and 8 with 4 minutes left in the Super Bowl. I think that's what his
So you
plan
don't
was.
think he was just trying to throw like a little backhanded thing at the refs, like he shouldn't have called it?
Oh,
I mean, I
maybe.
watched the video. It wasn't really like his tone didn't suggest that he was.
No, no, I bet he was just like, I think his thing was like probably a little subtly like, maybe don't call this that call on this point. But he held
Because
him and he said, I altered the
it
route.
was, yeah, but it was just such a soft hold for the pass to go out of the end zone, which it is what it is. Every quarterback's going to throw that ball and do exactly what Mahomes did
Right,
and point and say he got held.
right.
Because I think
But
that's what that play is.
well, yeah, I think the original play is basically the touchdown that they ran twice, the same play to get to pick up the first down yardage. I bet they changed it to the deep pass after the hold. It was like scramble mode.
No, I'm saying I think Mahomes and other quarterbacks, when they see the hold, they know if
Yep.
they loft the ball over there, it's just like, okay, we're going to get a first down. They're going to
Right.
call that.
He would have been there.
Yeah, he would have been there. He would have been in the third row of the stands.
No, it hit the back. It landed in the end zone. Anyways, so this late touchdown call or holding call gives the Chiefs new life. And then the Eagles are like, all right, let's let them score. And this is where me and Tim had a big argument. Tim said, I don't care who you are, you still run that ball and get the touchdown. And I said, he slid and they could bring it down to 3 seconds. Or what was it? 10
6.
seconds? Because they kicked it and then they had to kick off.
Yeah.
Whatever it ended up being. Now the Eagles only have 10 seconds, 6 seconds, whatever it is, to score, which is going to take a miracle. I don't get why you think you would give the Eagles offense that had been cooking all day an extra chance to score a touchdown.
I'm not saying you give them an extra chance, but you score point. You score the points and you put it on the defense to win the game. Because you so many things could have gone wrong on those last 4 plays. You fumble it, you miss the field goal, anything. You had guaranteed 6 points, 7 if he hits the extra point, but you could have guaranteed yourself a 6-point lead. They have to go all the way down the field and score a touchdown in a minute and what, 35 seconds
With 2 timeouts.
with 2 timeouts. I don't care. You take the points when it's that readily available. You didn't have the lead. If you had the
Right.
lead, that's different.
But okay, so my argument to you on the lead thing, that's what you kept saying last night. What if something crazy happens? Like, say he misses that field goal. Now what do the Eagles have? 10 seconds to get in field goal range to win the game or go to overtime.
Yeah, but the game would have been over if you scored. You wouldn't have had to worry about that.
That's not true. You're giving Jalen Hurts, who has 3 touchdowns and 300 passing yards, the ball back.
3 rushing touchdowns from like the 2-yard line. So
Tim, that's still 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, but the way you just worded it made it seem like he had 3 50-yard touchdowns.
He would have had.
We saw him at the end of the game. He can't throw the ball 60 yards in the air. That was crazy.
He wouldn't have to with 2 timeouts.
I think you take the points. I don't.
Well, you're wrong.
If you had the lead, you slide. You didn't have the lead. The game was tied. You take the points. You put the pressure on your defense.
I just disagree. I think you do exactly what you did and do not give them a legitimate chance to tie it.
Yeah, I guess we're just going to disagree on this.
Yeah, because you're wrong. Because I picked Pat Mahomes to win the Super Bowl MVP and the Chiefs to win. And you had Boston Scott.
He always had it, too.
Yeah, almost. But so the last play, Tim, did you hear that Hurts came out saying his foot slipped?
I did not.
That's what he said. His foot slipped on the last play, which is what I would say too. But
We were talking about the slipping. Oh, they're playing
all
on
game.
a goddamn ice rink.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on. This is like a crazy nice stadium. They can bring the grass outside, wheel it in. Everyone's slipping. I mean, that's just not what you want to see on the biggest night of the season.
No, that's crazy.
I actually just watched it, Tim. His foot did slip. That's legit. Just watched
I
it
thought
now.
his arm got hit by the
I did too.
end.
It looked weird to begin with. All I could think of is obviously
He has
Jalen.
to be able to throw it farther than that. That
Yeah,
was
we saw him do it to Devonta Smith. That was
that
a
was a bad
deeper pass. That was a good pass.
that was
Anyways,
a bad throw.
it let him out of bounds, but like distance
Yeah, but it
wise.
was yes.
But I was thinking, I mean, you've tried to throw a football really far, and
I
you
just
just
can't.
you no. But I'm saying when you try it, you like grip it too hard. You're just everything's off, and your arm ends up hurting, and you just overthrow it basically 30 yards shorter than you thought you could have. It seems like
Yeah.
before I just noticed that his foot slipped, I was like, maybe he was in his head, like, I gotta bomb this thing and just, but it was weak. It was not good. That's a not, that's a non-competitive pitch if we were talking baseball.
Yeah. I that, that was ugly. That was a bit, but if he slipped, I mean,
Right. So
all you're hoping for right there, but it's just passing,
yeah,
and
because
then you
then you
kick
can
field
kick a field goal, yeah,
because the other team didn't score a touchdown.
and then they won the Super Bowl. Um,
Um,
though, but let's not focus on that last play because Hurts was unbelievable. There was a point in this game I was like, well, this is over because Kansas City couldn't stop the Eagles.
no, the whole game really flipped on the Hurts fumble though. That was his
Yes,
biggest
yes, he just dropped it. That was ugly.
because in that first half, it before that play, the Eagles just looked like you said unstoppable. And what the Chiefs went down on the first drive and answered a touchdown with a field goal, right?
No, touchdowns. It was 7-7 at the end of the first quarter.
When did the Chiefs kick a field goal? Because that's when I thought that the game was over for.
I
I
think it
thought the
was
Eagles.
the Chiefs' only field goal. Oh, that was in the only field goal they had was the fourth quarter.
Really?
Yeah, they punted.
Oh, okay. So the end of the second quarter, though, or at
End of
halftime,
this at
it was
halftime.
24-14.
Yes, they had to punt. They had a 8-play drive that they ended up punting.
Yeah, there was yeah, and then he just dropped the ball. I don't. Both offensive lines played awesome.
Yeah, it
You know, you
was
didn't hear anything from Chris Jones, anything from Frank Clark.
no. The only sack was Hurts went out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage, so it was basically it was I think called a team sack, not even like credited to an individual.
That you don't see that very often, especially when every lineman, what is it? The starting four defensive linemen for the Eagles had 10 sacks apiece or 10 or more sacks apiece.
Yeah, it was like the third best defensive line ever, like numbers wise, something like
And
that.
sometimes you got to eat crow. I'm going to eat some crow. I said that
Mhm.
the Chiefs' offensive line was not good.
Yeah, and I said I don't think the pass rush will really affect the game.
Well, it did affect the game because it didn't happen.
Okay, now
I'm
you're
just
just now you're just trying to find holes.
um no, I agree. I was shocked that the Eagles could not get to Mahomes. He had a banged up ankle. Did you hear about it?
I did. So do you want to go into your little conspiracy about it?
It's a fake injury. He wants to have the Michael Jordan flu game moment. He gets up from that uh what he threw it out of bounds or threw it to the running back
Yeah,
and
something.
out of the pocket. And he limps over and he's screaming in agony.
This was right before the half. This was the play that the series they had to punt.
And then he goes, what was it? The third quarter, he had that 20-yard. No, that was the last drive of the game.
Yeah,
He
that
ran
was
30 yards, sprinted right up the middle of the field and took a hit.
I think I think he rolled
What
his
about when he
ankle.
juked the guy
Tim, I think he just
on the
rolled his
bad
ankle.
ankle?
We've all rolled our ankle and it hurts like a fuck motherfucker. And then a little while later, you're like, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought I was dead.
Yeah, but you were agreeing last night too. He was limping
I don't
after the
think
plays because he wants to make it seem like, oh man, I'm really gutting through this high ankle sprain. He even said it in the post game interview.
what do you say?
With a high ankle sprain, you just got to gut through these things. You
So
know how
that's
it
the
is
thing.
talking to Steve Young,
I
and
don't think
Steve
it was a
Young was
high
like
ankle
rolling his
sprain.
eyes.
I don't think originally it was a high ankle sprain. He sprained his ankle, but not a high ankle sprain. The one that keeps you out for,
Two
you say
months.
that. I heard someone somewhere say, maybe that's a theory now where you just say, oh yeah, he's way more hurt than he is. So that then you're like, let's pin our ears back and go get him, and then they can slice you up.
They did run the ball pretty effectively. The D line was getting up the field, so I guess that's I don't know. I just don't want that to be the narrative
I
that
think
he
people,
played through, but he
I,
brought it up in the interview.
yeah, I still don't think people are going to be like, what's going to happen is people are going to be like, oh yeah, that Chiefs coming back from double digits to the Eagles, and then like a Chiefs fan will be like on a sprained ankle. But normal people, non-Chiefs fans will be like, yeah, that game they came back and
The double digit thing also kind of irks me. Like the Patriots came back by 25.
Tim, 10 points is double digits. I
I
don't know.
know it is, but 10 points is nothing. Have you heard the Rosillo thing where he talks about touchdowns as 1 point? Like you're down 3-1, not
Oh no,
21-7.
no.
Yeah, so he does this whole thing where he makes the point that when it's 21-7, it's really 3-1,
Right,
which
I
sounds
get
way
that.
closer.
It's like what
So they're really only up
yeah. No,
1.5 points.
no, I get it. Yeah, it's like when you play in the backyard and you say it's 3-1 instead of
21
6.
17,
Yeah, or yeah,
18 to 6. Yeah.
yeah.
So
No, I get it, but
it's
just
double
as
digits. I understand.
it, yeah.
It's 10 points. It's not,
But it's
it just
also
sounds better when you say it.
yeah, and it really just points out it was like kind of a a collapse by the Eagles. Their defense was nowhere in that second half. And did
No.
you hear? I noticed it this morning. Debo Samuel was trending on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like, why after the Super Bowl? And he said in an interview before the game, we were so ready to attack the Eagles secondary. Their D line makes their secondary look better. And he specifically called Bradbury trash.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I don't think anybody on the secondary is that good. Was it Chauncey Gardner?
Jackson, Johnson. No, I'm just saying it was kind of funny that he specifically called out the guy that got the deciding holding at the end.
True. He said that before the game.
Yeah. He said their plan was to attack their secondary, like put the pressure on the secondary. Just, they have no quarterback luck in San Francisco.
Looking back, do you think if Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt, they beat the Eagles? Because that Eagles defense just was not that great for being one of the
I
top
mean,
5 ever defenses
yeah, because I still think it
statistically.
was oddly close in that Eagles 49ers game before Josh Johnson fumbled right before the half. It's like, what? How are they lingering with Josh Johnson at quarterback this whole half?
So do you think that they never played a good quarterback narrative is correct?
Yes, apparently. They went 2-1 against good quarterbacks. If you're counting Aaron Rodgers a good quarterback, if you're not, then they went 0-2, I should say. They went
And
1
I
and
don't even
2.
think like Dak is a top half of the league quarterback, but he's not Mahomes, Burrow, Allen.
No, but after you get after
What do you think? He's top 7?
yeah, so if you go Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, Hurts this year. Hurts was, but you're not going to pick him because take him out of it because it's the Eagles. Brady.
Brady.
Now, how
I guess Rogers.
Yeah, now you're talking Dak. So that's what, 7, 8?
Yeah, 7.
If so,
8 if you include Hurts.
yeah. I mean,
We're
I
definitely
can't.
missing a quarterback.
Yeah, well, Lamar, but he was hurt. Um,
Tua.
Watson's.
Tua led the entire
Yeah,
league in
I think
passing.
I bet they would have struggled. McDaniel would have come up with something. So it just goes to show you that when you look at it and they're playing Cooper Rush and these shitty quarterbacks.
Taylor
And,
Heineke.
right. It's
Daniel Jones. Yeah, I mean,
it,
like, I don't think you can do that with, like, you go back 10 years and look at who won the Super Bowl or made it to the Super Bowl. It's not often you get that lineup of shitty quarterbacks.
no. Like, especially in the playoffs. Like the Patriots a couple years in the divisional round, like face Matt Schaub and the Texans.
Yeah.
You know, they'd be like, well, we got to play
Great
someone from the
quarterback.
AFC South. You know, give us this guy. But then they're playing Roethlisberger, Flacco, Manning.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez.
He did go into New England and win.
He did. Whew.
How
We
do you
don't have
like?
to. No, we
What do you
don't have
say?
to.
How do you like that? No.
No. Bart Scott
What?
after said, can't wait.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Before he went and played him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like historically bad. And then they face the best quarterback and they can't stop him in the second half. And that's on a bum ankle.
Fuck you. They also ran effectively
Pacheco,
on the Eagles defense that,
Tim,
again, I know we've been talking about it. It's just, you can't stop the run or the pass. You're just not good.
Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes, and Travis Kelce, they didn't need to hit on a 7th round running back, and then they did. Clyde Edwards-Helaire went in like
First round, right?
first round.
He was the 24th pick, I think.
God,
Or does he wear 24?
No, I think whatever he was. He was a first.
He was a
rounder.
healthy scratch last night, right?
Yeah.
Healthy scratch in the Super Bowl. That's tough. That's Malcolm Butler. Do you think that Edwards-Helaire slept with Eric Bieniemy's wife the night before the Super Bowl? Right?
Oh.
That's the rumor.
That's what we heard from Jack from someone. Yeah, that's so. Yeah.
So that's probably it, right? He probably
must have been. So, did you notice right after the game, Andy Reid was hugging Bieniemy and Spagnuolo, but started with Bieniemy. He is getting offers.
Did he get a job somewhere?
He got an offer to go be an OC somewhere else. So I wonder.
He's gonna leave. No.
Well, Reid calls the plays. So I wonder if he goes somewhere else, him calling the plays, he'll be able to get a better chance for a head coaching job. The Commanders want him to be there.
That explosive offense.
I know. Is that almost like I'm gonna wait unless they get a quarterback.
That was another thing I noticed when watching all the post game stuff. Andy Reid brought up Bieniemy so much,
right?
As if he was like auditioning him.
Maybe Andy Reid seems like a good dude that just wants to eat cheeseburgers and coach football. So
did you see the Terry Bradshaw thing?
No.
It's a lot of outrage on the internet today because Bradshaw did the interview with Reid right after the game. And he's like, "Where's the big man? Come over here, big man. Water yourself over here, big man." And then said, "Have a cheeseburger on us tonight."
Oh, that's it.
And
Andy
people
Reid
are upset.
says it's his favorite thing.
No, people are upset that he said waddle over here.
Oh, come on. He's 150 years old, probably has CTE, and I bet Andy Reid loves him. We don't know their relationship.
I bet they get along because they hugged as soon. Like,
yeah.
Andy Reid didn't seem like he was like upset, but Andy Reid can't be upset that people say things. I mean, he's big guy. You know, as a big guy, I get it. Like, you know,
Yeah,
if you
I
were
talk
like
about your
waddle
meat
over here,
sweats.
I would say, all right, yeah, I'm gonna go over there. Got this
Yeah,
interview.
I talk about your meat sweats and how you just randomly break out. It's a lot of sweating
This is a lot of
with
sweating.
you in red face. Um, all right, let's take a quick break and then we'll kind of talk maybe a little future NFL stuff and then some Italian food. Okay, Tim. So, who of these two teams would you say has a better chance of making it back to the Super Bowl next year? You weren't prepared for this. I didn't even tell you this in the break. I just kind of came up with it.
I would have to say the Eagles. Well, yeah, the AFC is just so good. The Chiefs could, like, the Chiefs had Burrow taking care of business. The Chiefs shouldn't have never been in the Super Bowl.
But what would you be shocked next year if the Chiefs weren't in the AFC Championship game?
Yes,
Okay, so now you're putting the Chiefs as one of the final four. Would you be shocked if the Eagles weren't in the NFC Championship game?
I think so.
You,
I think that offense is going to be awesome next year. Like, I think we learned that the defense was a little overhyped, but I think Hurts played so. Like, I just think that offense is going to be great.
okay.
Another year, those wide receivers, the O line is staying intact. They don't really. They had a good running game that didn't produce anything last night,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't have a good running back, so they could get a back. Like Miles Sanders is not good.
Mm-hmm.
He just has an offensive line that's great.
All right, so let's see. You don't think the Vikings are real?
No,
Lions, Cowboys. I
nope,
mean,
nope.
if you look at the slate and like if
It's the
next
Niners.
if next year the Niners and the Eagles playing the NFC Championship again, I like looking at it now before free agency and the draft, I'd be like, that makes sense.
Yeah, like who the Packers are going to suck because Rodgers won't be there,
Mm-hmm.
and Rodgers didn't even do that much this year. The NFC South is trash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brady's gone, so
The East, NFC East, like I don't believe in Dak Prescott. I don't think Daniel Jones is all that good. And then the West,
well the Rams could get
the
healthy. That could
yeah, but the Rams, so that was a one-time thing. They don't have draft picks. They are going to
yeah.
lose. Like Donald might retire, Stafford's hurt, might retire.
Mm-hmm.
The entire team might retire. They might have
Yeah.
to close down the program.
Yeah,
I just think it's set up easier for the Eagles to get back to the NFC Championship game because you look at it, they're not losing anybody. Like everybody's under contract.
mm,
Um, the Chiefs aren't really losing anybody either, but they have to play the Bills. They have to play the Bengals.
yeah, no, I get
Wherever
your
Lamar winds up, like
I
I
think
guess
I agree with your point because initially I was just kind of like, oh yeah, well it'll be the Chiefs just because they always seem to be in the Final Four. But I don't. Looking at the NFC is so down right now. Like to me, why the
I can't.
hell would Aaron Rodgers jump to the AFC East if he really wants to like win? So you just go join Josh Allen's division and have to face.
Tua.
Yeah, sure. But it's Josh Allen's division right now. And then you have,
I think the. Do you think the AFC? Next season, I think the AFC East will be the most competitive division, similar to this year. Like, yeah, the Patriots had a shitty year.
was it competitive or was the bottom of the AFC not great?
I think the AFC East was probably the best division in football. Everybody talked about the AFC West. Broncos sucked. The Raiders fell apart.
Well, no,
The
that was
Chargers have a
preseason.
toddler coaching them.
See, I might disagree with you and say that
No, I'm not.
that
Yeah, I'm
NFC
talking now.
NFC East was the best and most
Really,
competitive. I mean,
I
the
think that
Cowboys won 12 games, the Giants won 9, and the Commanders won 8.
if
No
the
team was under
if Brees
500.
Hall doesn't get hurt, the Jets win 10 games.
Tim, if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, every day would be Doinkish Day. All right.
That's fair.
All I'm saying is that the Patriots and Jets were under 500, and no team in the NFC East was under 500. So I just think.
But were you outside of the Eagles going? Were you scared of any team in the AFC East?
Scared?
Yeah, like or NFC East. I mean, like, would you think like, oh man, we're playing like the Patriots are playing the Redskins or the Commanders?
Jesus,
Who do
Tim,
you
it's
think
been
would
like
win?
4 years. Um,
Like, I would say the Patriots are going to beat the Commanders.
but I wouldn't this past season think that the Patriots would beat the Giants or the Cowboys. Micah Parsons would have eaten Mac Jones. He would have balled him up into a little wad of a bunch of little airheads put stuff together. Or when you go like this with the airhead wrapper, I'm shaking my hand for everyone not watching on YouTube, and it
Everybody
forms a
knows
little
what you're doing.
ball.
Yeah, the best
That,
airheads.
that's what Micah Parsons would have done to Mac Jones. I think it would have been the point Micah Parsons would have just been like, ah! And Mac Jones would have.
Just trembled.
Yeah. And then Dayball would have messed with the Patriots linebackers because they're slow. Anyways, I think path-wise, the Eagles probably have the best chance of returning.
I'm trying to think of all the
Talent,
NFC teams, and I
talent.
just
I
don't.
have the list here, and it's actually not good. Take the AFC South, NFC South out of it, except maybe the Saints take that over because if they could get a quarterback, the Saints are pretty talented. They had Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton playing quarterback.
Dude, who are they going to get? Who's the head coach? Who'd they sign?
Lamar Jackson.
Who'd they get for a coach?
That's just they didn't get rid of the coach they had last year.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
Do you think Sean Payton will make a difference in Denver?
I think he'll make a difference in the fact he might be like, guys, it's not Russell Wilson. Yeah, it's still Dennis Allen in New Orleans.
Okay.
Oh,
you think he gets rid of Wilson?
No, not necessarily, but I think I still have them as like the third best team in that division, but based on my scripts. Just hey, before we finish talking about the season, I just want to shout out all the people that wrote the script. It was a good one. You know,
The NFL script?
Yeah, kept a lot of teams competitive at the end of the regular season.
I will say, so what we looked it up last night. It was 37-34
Eagles. That someone
had
made
that
a
happen.
fake. Oh my God, it would have exploded.
The world would have, yeah.
That would have, yeah. I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I would have just.
And it could have almost been that.
Thrown my computer into Glen Lake. I would be like, that's it. I'm done. I'm off the grid. I'm just gonna go be a lumberjack.
Like Wolverine at the start of Wolverine. Or whatever.
X-Men Origins. Wolverine.
That's a good movie.
So I think, like you said, Eagles probably have the easiest path again. But the Chiefs still have Reed and Mahomes. So it's like the thing is like
where do you put Mahomes right now?
Oh, the best quarterback in the NFL?
No. Legacy wise. Top 5?
No.
5 years, 5 AFC championship games, 3 Super Bowls, 1 loss in the Super Bowl, 2 MVPs. I don't care about Super Bowl MVP because I don't think that.
I don't know.
Like I don't think that's like a huge accomplishment to be the Super. Like if you make it to the Super Bowl, that's a bigger accomplishment than being the MVP of it, because it generally just goes to the quarterback.
Yeah. Or Dexter Jackson.
Or Deion Branch.
Right. No, I still think it's important if you're the
182 yards is
right.
not a lot of yards. And that bet would have hit if I could have found it.
But also the interesting thing is like look at the Chiefs, who would you have given it to?
No, you had to give it to Mahomes because he spread the ball out so much.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
But
Kelsey has an argument, but I don't even think Kelsey had 100 yards.
the legacy thing's interesting because like I know it's a short amount of time. I get it, it's incredible. But like you like you said, you can't put him up there with Brady yet. I know some people will say just talent wise and ability to play the quarterback position game to game, people are already saying like Brady could never do what Mahomes does. That's probably true. But I don't know.
Mahomes will never win as many games as Tom Brady did.
Right. So if he, 7, I know people want to talk about that as a possibility now, but like, let's be realistic. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow are in that division, and Justin Herbert, or I mean that conference. Then if you get through them, you might run into a fucking filthy team from the NFC. It's hard. Look what happened to him in the second Super Bowl. He got his ass kicked.
I think this win for Mahomes, where it opens up the like, oh, could he catch Brady thing, puts into perspective how crazy it is. Brady has 7 Super Bowls.
It's insane. It's wild.
Like you said, Mahomes got his. He had a. You know what that stat line looks like to me? A great game management stat line.
Yeah, it was more than that though.
It was, but if you look at that 10 years from now, you're not going to think like, oh wow, Mahomes really dominated that game. You're going to think the Chiefs must have run and the defense must have played good.
So here's
But then
the
you're going
thing,
to see
like,
the score and you're going to be like, well, the defense couldn't have played that good. They let up 35 points.
So Montana and Brady got to still be 1-2 because 7 and 4. I mean, I know Terry Bradshaw is 4, but one of those seasons he was benched half the season. He wasn't the QB that Brady and Montana were.
And the defense, I'm pretty sure you could have a baseball bat and just hit people with it.
Elway from the 80s is what in early 90s people talk about as this like you don't understand what he was like at the end of a game. Marino was the first guy to really sling it like what we see now. I'd still put Manning above Mahomes because I know you're talking the
People
two
sleep on how good Manning was.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, this guy that has his own production company and shit. No, he also has, I think, 7 MVPs. 7, Tim.
Peyton Manning did not win 7 MVPs.
I'm looking it up.
Tom, that's an aggressive number.
It's either 5 or 7. Maybe 7.
5?
Peyton Manning has 5. So it's not 7, but it's 5. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
So that's why he's up there. And then I don't know. What 2 years ago, everyone's telling me on my TV, on my phone, that no one's has ever been as talented at the quarterback position as Aaron Rodgers. Can we sit down and tell me who's the most talented? Meanwhile, Tom Brady just keeps winning them.
Yeah. Now people say Herbert's more talented than Mahomes, and he can't get out of the first round of the playoffs.
So I'll talk about the legacy thing when Pat Mahomes' career is done. Like, how can you legit talk about the legacy like that when he's played 5 years? Because he won't do this, but he could just like kind of plateau. He could just have a bunch of years.
Well, and the team, like Reed is going to leave. The team around him is going to get worse. Like, what do people think? He's going to go to every AFC championship for the next 10 years?
Right.
The AFC is too good for that. He'll go to the playoffs. Depends on how. I don't think he'll miss the playoffs. Like Brady missed the playoffs in 2002.
So here's the deal, Tim. If one of these years, Pat Mahomes beats Allen, beats Burrow, and then in the Super Bowl beats, I don't know, someone's gonna have to really stand out as a quarterback in the NFC because
Brock Purdy.
No, I don't know. I don't even know who would.
He's not even in the NFC right now.
Right.
This person.
Yeah, maybe. Like, I legit don't. I can't. I'm looking at all these teams. I don't know. But say this year, if or next year, he went through Allen, through Burrow, and then beat the 49ers defense, you're in. Well, then you would have three. But I'm saying, like, then you're like, oh, I don't know. This is pretty unassailable. I'll hear any argument except for Brady for now. But like you said, the Manning's biggest problem is he kept fucking running into Belichick and Brady.
Yeah. They would go what? 15-1, 14-2,
Yeah.
13-3, and then they would play the Patriots, and it would just be like, I don't. Belichick just owned Manning defensively.
Yeah.
Like the
Ty Law would
offense,
just be like, I'm
their
gonna take
defense
that.
was never that
Oh,
great
that's mine.
outside of the year. Who
They
was the
won and Bob
linebacker?
Sanders was
Bob
healthy.
Sanders, but who was their linebacker? They had a good middle linebacker too one of those years.
I don't
Unless I'm
know.
thinking of Bob Sanders, and
No,
now
you
I'm
are.
thinking of Darius
You
Leonard.
no, Darius Leonard is his name's Shaq Leonard now.
He changed his name.
I think he might have taken a first name. You know, some people do that. All right, Tim.
What does that even mean?
No, you
Take.
like. I went to school with a kid that went by his middle name, not his first name. You know, some people do that.
Oh, we went to the same school.
No, we'll talk about it off air. I don't want to be dropping these names, giving them shout outs. Give us some money.
Okay.
Give us some
Fun
money, the
guys.
old salt in Hampton, New Hampshire.
They did use my son as a publicity stunt.
Yeah, they put him on. No, I mean he did for a while. He had that Gerber baby look going. He looked just
Yeah.
like the Gerber baby. So then he started looking more like you.
Oh.
All right, Tim, introduce the next segment, please.
All right. So this week we're doing top 5 foods as we do. It's going to be Italian dinners.
Okay.
I specify because I got a lot of shit that I didn't specify the gummy candy thing, blah blah blah. Italian dinners, so you cannot use the Italian sub because that would be on there. Dinners. I guess you could eat an Italian sub for dinner. I don't know.
Okay. All right, so we'll do it how we did it with Jack. You're gonna say five. I'll say five. That had good flow.
Originally, when I came up with this idea, it was supposed to be draft order. That's why I was saying my number one pick, number one. Like we were drafting foods.
Yeah, no, I like this better.
Okay.
Because, yeah, this is better. Here we go.
All right. Number 5. You want to go first?
No, you go first. This is your baby.
Number 5, I went with chicken parm.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy,
Yeah, I love chicken parm. I guess actually I'd say right now chicken parm would probably be 6 on my list. So didn't quite make it.
Wow.
My number 5 is carbonara.
Fuck.
Tim, that's your number 1. So just bump everything down. That's your number 1.
Yeah, I know what I'm crossing out. We're okay. I completely forgot about carbonara.
About your favorite Italian food? All right, what's your 4?
Well, now it's gonna be meatballs and sausage.
Mm-hmm.
Just
classic,
and I could eat it at least twice a week.
Tim, I recently about spaghetti and meatballs and sausage said to Allie, like, I could eat this once a week. Just be like Tuesday night is spaghetti night, spaghetti and meatballs.
Every
night.
Wednesday I'm having meatballs and sausage.
I could,
and I wouldn't think twice about it.
All right, my number 2 or number 4 is chicken Alfredo one-pan pasta. You know how Mom does it with everything in one pan?
Sun-dried tomatoes.
Sun-dried tomatoes, a little broccoli. Love it.
Wow.
Tim you forgot all these.
I forgot all white cream sauce meals.
Yeah.
I'm not putting Alfredo in there though.
Okay.
Because,
it's interesting because white cream sauce is usually your favorite.
I do like. So number 3.
Yep.
I got lasagna.
That's my number 3.
I could eat so much lasagna; it's unhealthy.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of your MO.
Yeah, that's true. Uh,
All right, so we both had lasagna. What's your two?
Stuffed shells.
I love a stuffed shell.
Those, even the ones you made, the vegan ones.
Yeah.
I could eat. I love stuffed shells.
I'd love to experience
Never had manicotti, but I feel like it's the same thing. It's just a different shape.
I'd love to sometime go out and have a nice ricotta stuffed shell, but as you know, I can't have dairy, so we
Slows you
we
down.
make we make the cashew cream, which are still delicious. All right, my number two is garlic and oil pasta. I believe it's called pasta.
Cashew peppy.
No, have you ever seen Chef
Yeah.
with John Favreau? It's the stuff he makes for Scarlett Johansson in aglio
I thought you made
e
that for us once.
olio. Maybe I did. So, well, maybe we'll have Sap tell us how to pronounce that. Aglio e olio.
No, you're
Garlic and
nailing
oil.
it. I bet you're nailing it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
All right, and then your number one is
It
carbonara.
has to be carbonara. I don't even understand how I made this list.
I want to have it like real Italian style.
So you say that, and then you eat it, and then you're disappointed.
But did you have
I
it with
know.
the?
I don't know if Brienne's listening to this. It's good.
Mhm.
It's just not Mom's.
Did you have it with the
Like you kind of
pancetta
want the
or with
scrambled eggs.
the?
I had it with the beef cheek.
Oh yeah.
Matt
I'd have it
and
with
Brienne
just
made
pinch. Yeah.
the real way,
Mm-hmm.
and God, I like salt. Nobody's ever
No, look at
nobody has
if we
ever
if we could
said
get you
like
in
this.
like a microscope right now, a little magic school bus. Be like, here comes a salt wing.
Miss
Oh
Frizzle
wait,
would be rattled by the amount of salt in
she'd
my
be like,
system.
okay, kids, this is unsafe. We're gonna have to exit same way we came in. That was a rectum.
So, but the real stuff, like, remember when we went out for Kate's birthday and we went to that place in Somerville, Davis
Oh
Square,
yeah, yeah,
Somerville,
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah, Southern something.
they made carbonara
Mm-hmm.
where they just put the egg yolk on top,
Mm-hmm.
and that was good. But the one I had in North Carolina was so salty. Then they're both the like original carbonara with the beef cheek
Mm-hmm.
and the cheese. I don't
What's
know.
that called? Guanciale?
Yeah, guanciale. The mums with the scrambled eggs and bacon. It's
I think it's only scrambled eggs because you just put the eggs. You put the egg right into it. That's like what it's supposed to
yeah
like emulsify and get it all thick, right? Just kind
yeah.
of scrambled.
But hers is just better.
Yeah, Tim, that's what we grew up on
Yeah,
with
it's
bacon.
just.
I've seen it made with pancetta. I'd like that.
I think the one in Boston was pancetta.
Oh, yeah, see. All right, my number one is spaghetti and meatballs, Italian sausage. Like you had
Wow.
it five. I mean,
No, I had
the
a three.
the meatballs mom and dad make, they
Yeah.
got it out of the
Ever since that,
Boylston Town recipe book, and it's phenomenal.
who in
And
town was making those?
I don't know. I don't want to give credit to
Do they
people.
even make those things anymore?
Our parents.
No, like
Oh, the
town
cookbooks.
cookbooks.
I bet. Why you want one? I could
Mom
talk to
never
some
made one.
context. I know. Well, I don't want mom to give out her recipes.
Yeah, that's true.
Although mom did make a cookbook of our grandmother's recipes. Everyone else has one, Tim, except us. Do you have one?
I have one.
Okay, apparently just me.
You must have missed that Christmas party.
I guess. I don't get it. I'm the only one.
George
So
is the only one I know of that makes these recipes.
yeah, he made like the
I will be honest, and I know you're not going to like this comment.
Tim.
I almost called mom
We're on
last week
record.
for the chop suey recipe because I was craving it.
I've talked about it too much. All right, Tim. Also, quick shout out to Sully's here in Goffstown. They make a phenomenal meatball, and it's
So
so
we're
easy.
gonna give them
Who else?
We're giving them publicity, but you
Yeah,
won't.
because
You won't name the
maybe they'll I don't
be a
know who
sponsor.
made the meatballs in that Boylston recipe book, but yeah, maybe Sully's will give us some cash and we can just say this episode's brought to you by Sully's.
That'd be cool. Maybe we'll move to Goffstown, and then the ride will be short.
Yeah, or just outside the Goffstown city limits.
Yeah,
Keep a buffer there, man. I don't want you in my backyard.
I want to be your across the street neighbor.
Oh
His
no,
weird
that guy's
shaped house.
great.
He's a really good guy.
All right, Tim. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Big Batman fan.
Bye, Tim.